cars earlier this year called the Hyundai Ioniq 5 and the Kia EV6. And I gotta say, like, pretty impressive cars. I was looking at them over the weekend, and I was kind of interested in buying one of them. The MSRP is less than $40,000, and it's getting some decent reviews. And even EV King Elon Musk himself had a tweet a couple days ago saying that Hyundai is congratulating Hyundai for doing a good job. So, you know, I think it's more car makers, legacy car makers getting in the space is good. We know that Ford has their Ford F-150 electric pickup truck and their Mach-E. There's a chart of the EV sales this year. Ford's making moves. Hyundai is making moves. Hyundai owns Kia, and Kia is making moves. And I think that's good. We're seeing some more momentum. Obviously, there was always interest before. Now with high gas prices, even more people are trying to get involved. My parents are thinking about buying an EV now, and they're looking at the Hyundai Ioniq 5 or the Kia EV6. The problem is that they're like impossible to get. I mean, they're like back ordered for like 6 months. So a lot of people are interested. You just can't find them anywhere, though. It's just impossible to find them. So they're probably gonna put themselves on the wait list. But it's good. I like to see legacy car makers make a good EV vehicle, so it's not just Tesla, you know, and we have more options.
Yeah, that's really exciting. Way to go, Hyundai. I used to be a reporter for the auto industry, and even just 2, 3, 4 years ago, this wasn't even something that was spoken about. Like, I couldn't get one of these major manufacturers to talk to me about an EV plan, and here they are, putting it out there, making it like a top priority, and making it affordable.
Not only that, right? Hyundai plans to release a new EV every year this decade. They're going to have a new EV come out every year. So they're ready to pounce on this opportunity. And I wonder if they're going to leave some of the American car makers in the dust. The American car makers don't get their act together.
They just might. I guess, Toyota kind of started it off, right? And did a great job with that, with the Prius and having kind of the hybrid model. So, we'll see. I think Hyundai could do it. Yeah, that's exciting. Yeah. Plus, exactly to your point, like, we can't just rely on Tesla, obviously, in this situation. So, I don't know. We'll see. I wonder if the American manufacturers have as much like incentive to want to keep the EV train going. It's interesting that they like struggle a little bit more on that end, but
interesting. Yeah. Let's move on to something less exciting, guys. So Daily Harvest meals are being recalled after giving customers horrible stomach issues. Yes, so Daily Harvest is recalling its plant-based fresh lentil and leek crumbles after receiving 470 reports of illness, including gastrointestinal issues and potential liver damage. And this was disclosed to the FDA. So before, this brand was crushing it. Before this debacle, Daily Harvest was thriving. They had sold $250 million worth of meal subscriptions in 2020, and they hit a $1.1 billion valuation. This is also thanks to its army of influencers and celebs and investors, including Serena Williams, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Bobby Flay. So, quick note, obviously we'll talk about Daily Harvest, but the private markets are a little interesting. The valuation for private market companies are interesting. A lot of times in the early stages, the founders give up a percent of equity for dollars, obviously from venture capitalists or investors. So in certain cases, like $1 million for 20% of a company gives the value of a company of $5 million. In the later stages, it's a little bit more murkier. It could be a multiple on cash flow, or higher multiples are for more stable companies and lower multiples for less stable. But their valuation is probably down right now, just thinking of what's been happening with all these orders and meals being recalled, all the viral posts on social media about this crazy gastrointestinal issues. I haven't heard about that word prior, Zayden Nicole, but what do you think about this Daily Harvest debacle?
Oof, I'm bullish on Trader Joe's, guys.
Have any of you guys tried Daily Harvest?
I've
never tried it.
Probably not going to try it now. Sorry, guys.
We are lucky.
I don't know. I guess it also makes me think about, because I've never tried it, but I've seen the TikToks and the commercials and the Instagrams, and it's been pushed my way before as a healthy option. So I don't know, it just reminds us that just because a bunch of influencers say that it's good for you, or a celebrity, right? Like, Goop's probably not feeling too good about promoting something like that ended up giving it a health and wellness brand.
Exactly.
But anyways, so that kind of is what that makes me think.
Yeah, that sucks. That's a bummer. I thought it was just like diarrhea or something. It seems like it's some more serious stuff. And yes, if you're a food company and you're having issues like that, that's tough. I mean, remember when like Chipotle had that issue probably what, like 5 years ago, and everyone's like, Chipotle is going to go bankrupt. Like, this is like horrible. And I mean, I honestly did not go to Chipotle for like a year and a half when they had. Was it E. coli? What was there was some issue that they had?
I think it was like E. coli in the chicken or something. But I definitely did. But that's the thing. The thing is that Chipotle has, I mean, I could be wrong here, but Chipotle has a little bit more brand awareness. It's been around longer. It's been established, right? It's like this love. It's a beloved, chain and brand. Whereas this Harvest one is pretty new, right? It needed all of the celebrity push. It needed all of the hype behind it, and so now it's
for the people at home. Take a look at Chipotle stock. There was a dip buying opportunity of a lifetime when all that mess was happening, and everyone was talking about Chipotle was gonna die. If you watch their stock, I mean, it had just dived, and then now I mean, not now, but like over the last 6 months, it's been doing pretty decent. But man, like that was an opportunity of a lifetime, because there was like the real concern that Chipotle was gonna like not exist because of all these issues they were having. So glad they fixed it. I love Chipotle.
Mr. Chance segment on Chipotle. I like
that.
We
should. Yes, we need to do that. Exactly.
There's that. Like even like peanut butter. Like I don't know if like Peter Pan peanut butter ever like came back after its like recall. Maybe it didn't. I don't know.
I haven't had Peter Pan peanut butter in a long time.
I don't eat peanut butter that much these days. But okay, anyway, so basically companies could come back from this. I don't know if this one will because it's not as established, might be my main takeaway. Moving on. On Friday, Solana Labs announced that they were releasing their first piece of hardware, the Saga phone. As far as hardware goes, it looks pretty similar to a regular old Android phone, which no one really has. But it's been built with Web3 in mind and has some Web3 specific bells and whistles. Here's the top features that make the Solana phone kind of stand out. It's got its own decentralized app store called the Solana Mobile Stack. So that means no more sharing 30% of app revenue with Apple. It's got a seed vault, an all-in-one password storage system for your crypto wallets that essentially turns your phone into its very own hardware wallet. And it has Solana Pay, which is like Apple Pay, but it allows you to buy items using your Solana's SOL token. So it seems really cool. I don't know if folks are really going to trade in their current phones to get the Saga. I guess you would just have it in addition to your regular phone.
I'm buying one.
I was gonna ask.
But what if this is like ridden with risk, right? Like, I don't know.
This is
like
the perfect burner phone, guys. If you all need a burner phone out there, pick up a Solana burner phone.
Non-traceable.
Oh my God.
If you guys do any sketchy business deals or whatever, don't use your iPhone. Use the Solana phone.
No, this is not what crypto is supposed to do. But given that, like, it is an interesting thing to decide to maybe talk about right now from this company, I think, because crypto isn't in the best place right now. But also, I think we still need to mature from the conversation of fraud, of security concerns. Like what's to say that all of your crypto things can't get hacked with this? I guess that could happen anywhere, but.
Yep.
I guess we'll find out when Zay gets the first one, and then he can test it out for us. And if he loses all his money, he'll let us know.
And this is cool in the sense of like you were talking about. You're right. The crypto is not in the best place right now, or just like in general, thinking about the sentiment, right? But I think obviously some people are still building. And if you're thinking about the metaverse and all these things that we talk about, they're like esoteric. It's not like, all right, if you can build good hardware that people will use. Obviously, we don't know if Solana phone is it. Maybe that like draws people. When we talked about like hardware, being kind of that conduit for people to actually get involved in different areas, and then maybe this will be it. It looks kind of cool, but I have no clue. As you mentioned, it is ridden with risk, so we'll have to see if anyone adopts.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, Zaid, what is next?
Today, we're talking to a man who has been deep in the crypto space for a while now, making a big name for himself as the former VP of Polygon. But now he's focusing his efforts on a new project called the NFT Thought Project, which is to trying to use NFTs in order to bring important conversations to the ever-growing blockchain space. Want to welcome on Charles Atkins. Thank you so much for being on the show today, Charles.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Good to be here.
Absolutely. So I got to ask with this question. We got to start with this one. Obviously, right now, crypto is in a bit of a bear market, to say the least. We're kind of going through another crypto winter. What do you think that does to as far as NFT adoptions and just NFTs becoming mainstream? Do you think a bear market will just kind of take all the excitement out of all that, or do you think that this is kind of where people are going to start jumping in?
I mean, I think for a lot of the people that would technically consider themselves traders, this is obviously going to put a little bit of a wet blanket on their hopes and dreams. But I will say, from an NFT standpoint, the actual technology and what it's typically used for, in the broader sense, cryptocurrency and NFTs are fairly unrelated. So, to me, in the use cases that I typically see on the enterprise side, they don't even really rely on cryptocurrency that much. I will say, for the people that are, buying the PFPs, the Bored Apes, all the cartoon projects that we're most used to, it's going to put a little damper on their on the parade for a while, but it'll come back at some point.
Yeah, so that's really interesting. So I guess because that to me was always like the crazy part, right? Like I dabble in crypto, started dabbling in NFTs the past few months. Never fully bought in or understood the appeal of the profile picture stuff. I'll just be perfectly honest. Still don't understand why someone would buy a Bored Ape for like 100 ETH, worth more than my house. But I guess we'll see if that takes a bit of a hit. I mean, it's still somewhat holding up, so I guess we'll see if that takes a hit. That leads into my next question. So you worked at Polygon, which is very popular blockchain, especially for NFTs. Do you see any improvements, or are there going to be any improvements you'd like to see in the blockchain space or in the future that you think it's going to be, that people are working on right now, that will be good for the space in this next bull cycle?
Yeah, I mean, so the obvious things that are going to be great for the space is speeding up the transaction speed. This is like, I always tell people I'm an OG internet guy. Like, I was around during the browser wars and when you used to sign on with the dial-up modem, and same kind of thing we're going through right now is that crazy noise you used to hear before you get onto AOL. That's kind of the blockchain right now. I mean, we're dealing with some pretty slow speeds, some pretty slow transaction finalization. And that's going to improve tremendously, that the more people participate in the network and can validate these transactions and basically act as participants. And then the other thing that's super exciting that I hope will really help out is just a full interoperable protocol. Like, we don't even have the equivalent of, when you type in a website, you can do HTTP. That's a standard protocol. We have nothing like that for blockchain yet. So you can't search one blockchain to the next. It's just not possible yet. So those are two advancements that I see, in the upcoming years are going to be huge, huge game changers.
Yeah, I mean, that's very true. So yeah, I remember the dial-up era as well. Just like my mom would be on the phone. I'm like, Mom, get off the phone. I'm trying to use the internet. Or she'll yell at me to like get off the internet so she can make a phone call. That's a good comparison to what we are in the blockchain space. I think one of the other things that I always think about is like the interface, the user interface, right? Like, so I can like use MetaMask and things like that, even though I'm terrified that I'm gonna like send like $2,000 to the wrong address and like lose it forever. I think if that improves over the next few months and years, that'll really help normal people get into the game, because it's hard for me to recommend this to my parents who are just like, I don't understand how to like log into my email sometimes. And I'm telling them to like get a MetaMask wallet so they can buy some NFTs. Like, it's hard for them to recommend that. So hopefully those are going to be some improvements as well in this next upcoming month and years.
Yeah, UX UI is a big problem. I mean, you touched on one of the one. I wish I would have said that, because that might actually be the biggest obstacle right now. Is there's several steps in order to complete one transaction, and for the general user, I mean, we're used to Amazon, like one click, baby. That's all we're doing. And right now, that's just not where we're at in the blockchain space.
Yeah, that definitely needs to be improved. And you said something interesting about like how right now, blockchains are slow. We know that, and some blockchains are faster. Solana being one of them. Polygon offers a faster solution for Ethereum. But do you think that that'll result in kind of like a winner take all for like these multiple blockchains, where like the best one's going to win out? or do you think that there'll be a world where we have multiple blockchains? I'm really interested to get your opinion on that.
Yeah, I mean, once there's an interoperable protocol, I think people are gonna pick and choose who they want to utilize on their transactions, almost the same as like you're picking hosting for a website or the ending domain for your email address. I mean, there's not going to be a winner take all. I mean, this is going to be a world of just multiple blockchains that are all interconnected. I mean, there's a lot of gaming companies even talking about just building private chains in each individual game. So, I mean, now we're talking like, multiple hundreds of thousands of blockchains, especially if people are running them privately. The big organizations, they want to run private blockchains, whether that be for, security risk or just for other sensitive data that they handle on a day-to-day basis. We're going to be definitely living in a world with multiple dozens, if not hundreds plus different types of blockchains.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Private blockchains. I've never even considered that as a thing. I mean, I know that Axie has their own blockchain, Axie Infinity, and there's been some issues there for the past few months with the hacks and stuff. But yeah, it's very interesting. Private blockchains. Pivoting to the project that you're working on right now, the NFT Thought Project. You're going to use NFTs to bring important conversations to the blockchain community. What are some of the conversations that you hope to have, and how do you feel that NFTs will play a role in this?
Yeah, I mean, interestingly enough, just in the time since we first talked, and then coming on this show, NFT Thought Leaders actually got acquired. So we're now called Good Morning Web3 because NFTs was a little bit too narrow-minded. But basically, what we do is we hold in real life events, typically at Soho House locations around the world. We try to bring the smartest people in blockchain, NFTs, Web3, computing all into one space and talk about kind of where the future is going. So a lot of the conversations that we've seen, especially this last one at NFT NYC, focused a lot around gaming, enterprise use cases, and then a ton around personal identity and how do we kind of have a self-sovereign identity of our own that we can use everywhere. So those were the major topics lately.
Yeah, I think that one was the one I saw a lot of buzz on Twitter about, was your identity on the blockchain. Everyone kind of has it's like an equivalent of a social security number. It's on the blockchain, it's secure, and you have an identity that you can carry basically everywhere in the world instead of the archaic system that we have right now.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, that'll be really cool when we get there.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for that. I mean, I think we're still so early in this. I know that Web3. I mean, I'm still kind of a skeptic. Don't get me wrong. I'm still kind of warming up to the idea. But I'm starting to become more optimistic about it, especially now that now that we're in a bit of a bear market. A lot of the mania has gone away, which I think is a good thing, because there was a lot of probably bad actors in the system, or just all these random tokens and NFT projects popping up. It's this doesn't make any sense at all. And now that we're in a bear market, hopefully some legit stuff gets built. Because I think otherwise, if it's not legit, it's not going to get funded. It's not going to get any capital or any excitement. So I'm excited to see what gets built. I'm going to wrap with this question. So you're working to bring major brands, like you talk about enterprises, into the blockchain space, NFTs, and metaverse space. So based on your conversations that you've had with businesses and enterprises, what do you think that they find most intriguing about implementing blockchain technology? And what do you think is something that they're hesitant about?
I mean, I can start with the latter part. The thing that they're most hesitant about is touching cryptocurrency. And, there's several companies I talk to that are publicly traded that, based on their shareholder agreement, they're not even allowed to touch cryptocurrency. So,
oh, wow.
That's a big hurdle right away. Is if you have a brand that comes to somebody like myself and says, can you help me build something in the Sandbox or Decentraland, one of these virtual worlds that basically run on the Ethereum blockchain, they can't even own Ethereum. So wow. I would have to purchase that for them. They would have to pay me in US dollar. It's just a big issue. That's their main concern for major brands, is the cryptocurrency aspect. I'll say that the thing that they love about it, and a use case that's been out there for several years now, is Home Depot runs the majority of their supply chain using IBM Hyperledger blockchain and smart contracts. So
wow.
That's a very easy use case where now you don't have a person that has to get involved with, supply and vendor relations. It basically, the smart contract says, if this vendor delivers my paint 2 days late, I only pay them 98% of the contract. If it's 5 days late, it only pays them 90% of the contract. And they have these penalties based on delays built into the smart contract, built into the blockchain that they can then go back and refer to and say, hey, this is what we all agreed to. But it's all done in, without a human interacting or being able to be corrupted in that system. So that's an exciting use case that a lot of countries that are doing import-export of major goods, they're already using this. Parts authentications for automobile suppliers, already doing a lot of that. So as far as blockchain technology, we're there, we're using it. Where the big confusion comes into play is that cryptocurrency?
Right.
Typically not. And is it NFTs? Definitely not in most cases. So there's a lot of terminology right now that I think are getting thrown into one pile, and I think the vocabulary problems might be one of the biggest hurdles moving forward, is just simple vocabulary.
I agree with you there for sure. I didn't even realize that Home Depot and some countries were even utilizing blockchain technology for their supply chains. That's pretty cool that they already have like a smart contract and they have like payment terms on it. That's really cool. And you're right. I think the dictionary, like the terminology is definitely confusing, because I think everyone just puts everything underneath the crypto umbrella. And it's like, no, NFTs aren't necessarily tied to crypto, even though I guess crypto is the main way to pay for them or buy them. But even like blockchain technology isn't necessarily tied to crypto. So I think that's a very good point. I think we still have a lot of education to do as far as getting the masses on board, and maybe there needs to be some sort of like conference about that. We're like, how do we get, let's all agree to use like one proper definition. Maybe cryptocurrency isn't the right term, because the currency part of it really gets people confused.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, you hit on a perfect example there. Is, not all NFTs use cryptocurrency. The one that everybody knows is NBA Top Shot. You can go on your Dapper wallet and use Flow and use your credit card. That has nothing to do with cryptocurrency, but yet you still own an NFT. So they don't have to go together every time. And probably the biggest use case out there is one that doesn't even connect the two.
That's well said, man. Well said. Charles, thank you so much for being on the show today. I really enjoyed our conversation. We got to have you back on soon.
Yeah, thanks so much. We'll talk soon.
Perfect. Thanks, Ben. Thank you. All right, guys, that does it for another fantastic show. Please like and subscribe. We go live every day, Monday through Friday. So be sure to like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. We will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.
Hey y'all, thanks for watching. Make sure you tune in every day. Also hit that like, subscribe, and notification buttons. We'll see you tomorrow.